James Lynch here for Low Kick MMA. Happy to be joined by Colby Covington, who is always great to talk to, especially after this big event we had on Saturday. Colby, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, brother. It's good to talk to you again, but I will have to disagree with that first part. You said the big event. I don't know if that was a big event, and anything that made it big or move needles over at the UFC pay-per-view box office. So, but a great event, a successful event nonetheless. Can't complain. Every time we have a UFC, we're honored, and it's always a good weekend to see UFC.
Well, yeah, the great event is right now. We're doing this interview. Always good to talk to you, man. I actually wanted to start first with something I saw on your social media. I saw you got your black belt a couple weeks ago. People think of you as a wrestler, but what does it mean to get the black belt on your resume? That's a pretty big feat, man.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. It's a culmination of 29 years of hard work, of dedicated practice to the field, So, 29 years in grappling, but 18 years in jiu-jitsu specifically. So, I feel like it was long overdue, but, it's an honor to get it from Daniel Valverde. He's honestly one of the best black belts in the entire world. Like, I'd put my money on that guy up against any coach out there in the world. And that's just facts. Anybody wants to have some bets and some super fights between coaches, let's do it, man. I got my boy Daniel Valverde all day. So it's an honor to get that black belt. Now it's time to really go make use of it and show the world how good it is. So if this fight touches the floor, I promise this guy's getting his neck snapped up.
And let's talk about what's going on in your division. Obviously, we had Belal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns on Saturday. I wanted to know actually who you had going into that fight because obviously it was short notice. It was 5 rounds. Who did you have going into that fight between Belal and Gilbert?
That's funny you say that, James. Short notice in 5 rounds. What was the point of these two fighters going out there, James, to fight this weekend on a short notice 5-round fight? What was the point?
Well, you're getting the next title shot, exactly, right? So
the only thing set in stone is that I'm getting the next title shot. That was the only thing set in stone. So why did these two fighters? I think the thing that's going on, that's a common theme here, James, is originally in that co-main event spot, Ali Abdelaziz had one fighter. But you know what? That fighter and the team, I guess it fell apart that fight. So why have one fighter when he could have 2 fighters in the co-main event? So the only one that truly won last weekend, James, was Ali Abdelaziz because he got 2 paychecks. Belal, the racist guy, didn't get 2 paychecks. He got 1 paycheck. And Gilbert, the family man from Boca, didn't get 2 paychecks. So, the only real winner last weekend, James, was Ali Abdelaziz. And, he finessed Belal and he finessed Gilbert, the family man. So, I feel for him. Gilbert's a good guy. He's a family man, cares about the kids. So, it's sad to see him. If anything, James, dude, think about it. Burns had to cut 100 pounds in the last 5 months. He's fought 3. It's not like he just walks around at 170 pounds. The guy's walking around probably 190, 195. So think about how bad that's been for his health. And his manager talked him into him and convinced him that this is a good idea. James, why is it a good idea? They could have fought. There was no implications on this fight. They could have fought later in the year. Him got a full training camp. Him have more adequate time to cut the weight. So I feel bad that Gilbert and Belal got finessed by Ali Abdelaziz. And, if they want any advice, they can come over to Colby Covington Incorporated. We're the best management in the game, and we're just trying to do things the fair way.
Well, it's worked out for you. You're getting the next shot against Leon Edwards. But just quickly back to the fight, did you think Belal was going to win, or did you have Gilbert going into that one?
I don't pay attention to jobbers that fight people on the prelims. Anybody could get a win streak beating guys off the prelims that are nobodies. You look at my record. At the time I fought every fight that I've had, the last 7-8 years, guys have been in the top of the division, top 5 in the world, former world champion, first ballot Hall of Famer. So, my resume is impeccable and it speaks for itself. So, I don't pay attention to people behind me, James. The only people I pay attention is the people in front of me. And there's only one man that's not even in front of me. There's one man that's neck and neck with me right now at the top of the mountain, and that's Leon Edwards Scissorhands Mumblemouth. So he's got nowhere to go. He's at least accepting reality that, oh yeah, he's going to have to fight me. So now he got put in his place. I'm glad that he took my advice that you don't cross the boss. Good job, Leon. You get some grounding points on that. But dude, serious question, James. I have a serious question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
How low IQ is Leon? Low IQ Leon? Honestly, James, I have a serious question. This is a serious question.
Yeah.
I want you to go out because you're a real journalist. You
Yeah.
actually do your actual journalism. I want you to go out and tell me the level of education Leon passed in the UK.
I couldn't tell you. I'd have to go research that and find out. But I will say that you're right. Leon didn't play his cards right because he wanted Masvidal. Masvidal lost. And then, I think he wanted maybe Gilbert or Belal, and then they had to fight each other. So now he's getting the options that it seems like he didn't want. He didn't seemingly want to fight Belal, and he didn't seemingly want to fight you. And now he's got to fight, he's going to fight you next, and then we'll see what happens after that.
No, but I truly want to know, James. I really want to.
I don't know. Colby, I wish I had.
I want you to find out. Did he graduate middle school in the UK, elementary school? Did he not make it through anything? The guy is Joe Biden stupid. I mean, he's shitting his pants. He's incoherent in the sentences. He mumbles all his words. I mean, the guy is he's dumber than a box of rocks.
I need to get him. I need to see if he has a LinkedIn profile. That would be the best way to figure that out if he's got it or whatever. But just quickly on the fight with Gilbert and Belal, I know you did have a chance to check it out. What did you think of that fight? It ended up being 5 rounds. It went the distance.
You thought I checked out that fight? You don't think the King of Miami doesn't have better things to do on a Saturday night than watch 2 bums on the prelims fighting? Those guys do nothing. They do no. The only time people even care about them is when they attach their names to me. The only reason they're relevant, people will even talk about them, is because of me. So it's not like those guys moved the pay-per-view needle and it was some pay-per-view box office hit. Those guys, they're unoriginal. They don't know how to do business. So that's why I want to give them, some help, some advice. Come over to Colby Covington Incorporated, and I guess can show you guys the way. But you guys fought for no reason. Both of them got finessed. I mean, you look at Belal, the racist. I mean, first the excuse was, he's in Ramadan. He needs a catch weight. Oh, first off, that doesn't even make sense. You need a catch weight. You're saying one thing, you're in Ramadan, but you need a catch weight. That doesn't make sense. You're in Ramadan, but you're not eating and supposed to be starving, but you need a catch weight. You need to be over. Okay, so that's the first mess up. Gilbert just fought a couple weeks ago in Miami. Why are you turning around to fight on such short notice for no reason? This fight could have happened 2 months down the line, let them both get a training camp. So why did this really happen? They got finessed by Ali Abdelaziz. But, dude, I had better things to do with my life, James. Come on, bro. I'm the King of Miami, man. I'm out there with my South Beach Mamacitas. I'm chilling. I had a great weekend with my boy Ben Pogue, one of the greatest investors that Texas has ever seen. He's a great commercial real estate guy. So we had a great time. We were Prime 112 Steakhouse. Shout out to Prime 112. We were doing great things in Miami, having a good night. Come on, bro. You think I'm going to pay attention to these guys? Really?
That's a fair point. You could have maybe caught the highlights. I don't know, something like that, as opposed to watching it live. It is Saturday night. I know you got a lot of things going on there. But
hey, how were the highlights? Was it a fight of the night, James?
It didn't. I don't think that one got fight of the night. No.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Man. They were talking. There was a lot of big talk being talked that I was going to get passed up and this and that. No, these guys are going to put on this show, and looks like the Belal, the racist, wasn't able to accomplish that. So what did he accomplish? He really just accomplished that, hey, now you got to win another fight, because if you look at the layout of the land, man, things are always changing in this business. This is about selling pay-per-views. This is about doing good business for the company. So there's a lot of other bigger fights after I win my world title who I'm going to defend against first. So, it could be, the Leon rematch, but he's not going to want it after I break him in that UFC octagon. He's never going to want a rematch. It could be an Usman trilogy if he's still hobbling around and not fully retired yet. Connor's always in play. He's right there, also the guy that's cutting off chromosomes from his body, trying to kill his body, is the Makhachev might come up. Champion versus champion, Rocky IV, Drago versus Rocky. So there's some great storylines with that fight, And then obviously Connor, and he's always in play. And then shit lip. What about shit rat lip up above? He might come back down. So there's people that take priority over Belal, the racist, and that's why I said what I said. I gave an opinion that I do think he will have to fight again.
Well, you talked about, and I think people thought if you and Leon were going to fight, it was going to be in July. That's not happening. They keep moving the fight. Do you think there's a possibility that the UFC strips Leon Edwards and that you might fight for a vacant title, say against Belal Muhammad?
There's always a possibility that Leon could get stripped. He's trying to act like he calls the shots and runs, a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, dude, the big bosses are the big bosses for a reason. They make the decisions around here. Mm-hmm. You need to take what is in front of you, and the biggest opportunity that you're going to ever get in your life. So I don't know why he's crying, screaming to the electric chair. So, he knows his ass is about to get fried soon. But, I don't know who. Yeah, I do think that, Leon Fumblemouth, he could, get stripped, but I don't know who would be next. Obviously, my next fight is for the undisputed world title. And whether it's going to be Leon there or the next guy in line, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm a company man. I love doing good business for this company. And whoever the company deems necessary, we'll go out there and fight for the undisputed welterweight world championship. And I will unify, James, my King of Miami belt.
There you go. Look at that.
Yes, sir.
And if you were to fight Belal, stylistically, how do you look at that fight?
That's funny you say. For Leon, when I'm going to fight him, stylistically, I just think that he has nothing for me. He's not on my level, and he knows that deep down. What? Dude, think about this, James. I want you to think about this for a second.
Okay.
Imagine back in the day, Georges St. Pierre turned down a home date in Montreal. Imagine that, to defend his title.
I know. Yeah.
Could you imagine how pissed off
there would be riots in Canada? It would be crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what Leon did to the people of the UK and London in specific. Like, that's disgusting. Those people, those fans over there in London, the most passionate, most diehard fans I've ever seen in my life, man. I respect those guys, have so much love for the fans of the UK and in London. Man, those people are amazing. The fact that Leon turned down a home date over there and he thinks, oh, they're not worthy of a pay-per-view. Oh, let them get a fight night. Oh, Leon, you think your people aren't worthy of a fucking main event, world championship, headliner, undisputed welterweight world title? You want them to have a fight night instead? Just the disrespect he has towards his own people, James, is disgusting. And, it'd be like me turning down a home date at Mar-a-Lago. If UFC called me to fight at Mar-a-Lago and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to fight there. And then I got to go call my friend Donald Trump and be like, Donald, man, I'm not going to be able to fight at this home date and defend the land, he would probably never talk to me. He'd be like, man, that's a disgrace. You never do that. You fight for your country. That's what everything stands for. The red, white, and blue, we fight. So the fact that Leon turned down a home date, it just shows how much he doesn't care about the people of the UK.
When was the last time you spoke to the UFC about this whole title fight situation? Because we don't really have an update when this fight could take place for the welterweight title.
Yeah, so I had dinner with the UFC the last fight night in Vegas, the Apex. I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, I think. So, they just said, hey, it's happening for sure. Leon turned down, we wanted to make that pay-per-view card for July 22nd in London, which is going to be a great fight night card. I mean, the UFC does great business over there. The fans over there, they're going to put on a great show. They just make it a spectacle. But that being said, the UFC said, hey, he turned down July for the pay-per-view. He wants a little bit more time. So, we're going to give him he's going to get a little bit more time. And, I just don't see it going on too late into the end of the year, James. And if it does, then yes, we will start talking about him being stripped and not defending and doing duties as a champion, man. You fight the next contender in line, man. I'm the next contender in line. Like, I'm the number one contender right now. Like, you need to come fight me. Like, my ranking, I've been here at the top of the mountain. I've accepted every single fight put on my paper. Everybody knows anytime Dana calls, it's yes, sir, yes, wherever at, sir. I'm ready anytime, any place, and anyone really. So, I love the UFC. I'm a company man, and, I'm going to go do some company business soon.
And you told Submission Radio that you said no matter what, the title fight's got to be on U.S. soil with the fact that Leon turned down the fight in the U.K. Where do you want this fight to take place, and when do you want it to take place? If you had the ability to call the shots, what scenario would you like for that title fight?
Yeah, if I had the ability to call the shots, I'm a company man. I love this company, so the company is going to decide. But for my opinion base, the best place that I would want it would be August in Las Vegas. Who doesn't want to go to the Mecca, the fight sports capital of the world, like T-Mobile Arena, like Las Vegas, Nevada, pay-per-view, UFC welterweight championship of the world. It's sometime in August, whenever the date will be for August. But I just think that that's a picture-perfect storyline, and it makes sense, like, how much time does he need? He's getting 5 months off. Like, this is a joke, man. Come out here and defend. You think you're the best? Okay, come prove you're the best, Leon. Low IQ, Leon.
I know you said you'll work with the UFC, but I know you want to get in there and fight. You don't want to wait too long. Is there a timeline you have in your head that if this doesn't take place, say August, September, you go to the UFC and say, hey, look, we got to get this title fight going, even if it's a vacant title. Do you have that timeline in your head at all?
No, I don't have a timeline, James. I stay ready at all times. I'm ready today as I will be tomorrow, as I will be a few months from now. So, I'm a company man. Whatever Hunter Campbell, Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and the big boss of the UFC decide, I'm going to be ready for any time. I'm in my prime right now, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, I'm just getting started. I'm starting to really, truly feel like I'm reaching my physical and athletic prime. So, I'm going to capitalize on that whenever the UFC can get him on board and get this going. But, I will be ready at any time. If anything happens, they need to reshuffle the deck. Colby Covington will come to save the day, because that's what the People's Champ does. He fights for the people, and he stays ready.
One name you mentioned there, with if you become the champion and all that stuff, is Islam Makhachev. How would a fight stylistically between the two of you play out, just with his wrestling, your wrestling? How would that play out?
It would play out the same way that the guy that knocked him out last time he got beat in the UFC octagon played out. I trained that guy, Adriano, for that fight. So, I was telling him all the whole time, I was like, dude, check right hook, right to it. Just hit a right hook. He's not ready for that. He's not keeping it, his left hand high. So that's what Adriano went out there and did and knocked him out. He's a southpaw like myself. So he doesn't fight good against southpaws. And dude, look at how much trouble he was having with that little short midget from Australia, Volkanovski. Like, dude, he's a 45 featherweight, bro. And you want to come to 170 now and talk this big game? So he knows what would happen, just like his daddy Khabib knew. That's why Khabib never came to 170, because King Colby was here. He knew he couldn't out-wrestle me, and that's what those guys from Dagestan do. They try and out-wrestle these guys. I'm a way better wrestler. My accolades speak for themselves. Division I All-American, national champion. Could have been a freaking Olympic champ if I would have went for it, but I'd rather fight in the UFC because it's the best organization in the world. So, the matchup's great. I love the matchup. Makhachev can't beat me in wrestling, can't beat me in striking, and he definitely can't beat me in jiu-jitsu. So, it's a pretty easy matchup for me. I think I dust him inside 3 rounds, and it'd be an easy first title fight and a big one. Champion versus champion. He's earned his stripes in this company, but there's just a guy that's just a little bit better than him, and that's the reason he ain't came up to 170 yet.
Last thing I want to mention about UFC 288, I saw your MyBookie prediction. You had Sterling winning. He ended up winning against Henry Cejudo. I'm sure you saw the results, or at least saw what happened. How good did it feel to get that pick right?
Yeah, just another time, I'm making the people's bank accounts great again. And the best place to get those bets in are mybookie.ag. Bet with the best. So, another winning pick, James. That's all I do is winning. Like, most people are addicted to cheating on their wives, cheating on their taxes, cheating on this and that. I'm addicted to winning. That's my drug of choice. So, another win in the books for King Colby, and it's just going to be a great year. 2023 is full of wins, undisputed title fights, and big paychecks. So I'm excited.
People said that fight might have been a robbery. Did you see the results? I don't know. Did you check it out? What did you think of that fight?
Like I said before, James, I was out enjoying the fabulous nights of Miami.
For sure,
the F1 races were in town. There were some big concerts. I had better things to do with my life, bro. You think I'd rather be watching, fights with a bunch of nerds when I could go out there with some hot mamacitas and get some bedroom cardio? I got a fucking undisputed title fight coming out. I got to make sure I'm getting my cardio on point with my babies in the bedroom.
Do you think Henry Cejudo's done with him losing that fight?
I don't pay attention to dwarfs. I'm not really concerned with, what Henry's doing with his career. I mean, it sounds like he's got no heart in the first place. He retired, in his prime and took 3 years off, and now he's just looking for paychecks. So he saw that, he's a sad, pathetic man. He got exposed, and people don't care about him. He's just not interesting. There's no charisma there.
Sean O'Malley looks like he's going to fight Aljamain Sterling next. I know you said there you don't care about the lightweight classes, but what do you think of that fight? Because it's kind of interesting with O'Malley and Sterling. Who do you think would win that?
No, it's not that I don't care about the lightweight class. There's a lot of skill down there, but a guy like Henry is just is too cringe for me, man. He's just I remember one time before we were gonna go watch Daniel Cormier fight Stipe in California. It was the second time, and Henry was like at the curtain and he was about to walk out, and he was like. And he saw me like walking way back. He said, dude, wait, can I walk out with Colby, bro? I want to hear the crowd pop for when Colby comes out there. So like he waited. He's like, Colby, do you think I could walk out there with the crowd? I want to feel the energy that you feel when the fans are hating on you and loving you and this and that. So I was like, okay, Henry, whatever. But he I just can't take him. He's just there's nothing there. He's claiming he's Triple C. Everybody knows who Triple C is. That's Colby Chaos Covington. So. But in that stylistic matchup with Sean O'Malley and and Aljo, it's a great fight. I actually like both fighters, to be honest. I think they're both great fighters. Aljo's a great champion. He's left a great history and legacy so far. And Sean's on the come up, and he's leaving a great legacy, and he's gonna put a stamp on fights. So that's an exciting guy you can't ever count out. So I think that would be a great, highly anticipated fight, and the best thing for the bantamweight division.
Saw you were in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. You kind of referenced it there for the Ryan Garcia fight. How was going to, check that out and, head out to Vegas?
Man, that was awesome. I had a great time, out in Vegas. I always have a great time staying at the Trump International Hotel. It's the most beautiful, luxurious hotel on the Strip, at the end of the Strip. So you get a beautiful, view from the Playboy Suite, where I'm just looking down Las Vegas Boulevard, just seeing the bright lights and the city that, I love fighting in. So that was very cool to be out there. And then to go front row, sitting with Floyd Mayweather Sr., chopping it up with Floyd Mayweather backstage, getting to hang out with Gervonta even in his locker room after the fight. Like, it was an unbelievable night to see, the electricity in that arena. There was a lot of stars out there, Saw my boy Max Crosby, the Oakland Raiders defensive player, who's fucking best defensive player in the league right now. And then, there's a lot of great celebrities out that night. So, it was a great event. And, that's what we need in UFC. Guys need to learn from the way that those guys sold the fight and the way that those guys went out there and put on a show. It was electric, and the pay-per-views, showed that.
I also saw you got a bit of training in. I talked to Natan Levy. I guess you guys got to talk and said that you guys had a really good exchange there. Any plans to go back to Vegas and do any training, or was that just you were just there for the fight?
No, I'm definitely, I'm going to probably be going out there in the next month or two. I love training at the UFC PI, man. The facility over there, it's just immaculate. And the services, the recovery, and just everything as a whole, the kitchen. I mean, they take such good care of you over there. They treat you like world-class athletes to every single one. It's not like anybody gets privilege over there. We all have the same rights as UFC fighters to go over there and utilize those services. So, love the UFC PI. Shout out Heather Linden. She's always giving me massages. She's a great, woman. And shout out to everybody, Charles, he's always giving us rehydration after weigh-ins. Great team over there at UFC PI. Very thankful for those services. Shout out to Aria, Manuel, Hunter Campbell, Dana White, and all the people over there for, providing those services for the fighters.
Any plans, like you said, you're going to do some training there. Any plans to bring any of your training partners or have like a little mini camp out there and maybe make your own camp as part of Colby Covington Incorporated?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Colby Covington Incorporated, we're always doing good business, James. When I go out, I bring my coaches out, and I'll bring some training partners out and make sure, I'm getting a good simulation of, what Leon Edwards Scissorhands is going to be doing. A lot of eye poking. I actually heard they redesigned the gloves in the UFC because of all the eye poking Leon Edwards is doing.
I know they've changed the gloves. That's for sure. And I think John Jones as well was guilty of that a little bit with the eye pokes too. So it's good to see they're making some changes. Would you bring anyone in specifically for Leon, or is it just like you sort of focus on what you're good at for that fight with Leon Edwards?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope to bring someone in, someone that you don't know and you can't really fully trust. Like, I don't trust people. Like, people, like, they come with an agenda. They come with egos to think they're the best in the world and try themselves in training. So the biggest thing is training smart and making sure we get to the fight healthy. I know I get to the fight healthy and no one's stopping me. I am the best in the world right now, James, and I'll say it loudly and proudly because I know it. And I feel it the way I train. I feel it the way I walk around. I know it. Every day I look in the mirror, I'm like, yep, that's the best welterweight in the world. No one's going to stop that. So it doesn't really matter who it's going to be. And Leon's got nothing for me, man. And you could see it. If he was so confident, Leon, he would be like James. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill Colby Bell." He'd be selling the fight. This thing would be a mega blockbuster fight. But he's fumbling the bag. He's talking about fumbling the bag. But dude, you're the B side. At least like sell this fight and make this like attractable to the fans. But I mean, the guy has no common knowledge. He doesn't know how to do business, James. So there's a reason he doesn't sell pay-per-views and move the needle at the UFC.
Are you worried now with Usman losing to Leon that, that fight might never happen? Is that one you still want to get back and have another fight with?
With who?
Kamau Usman.
Yeah, definitely. We're tied 1-1 right now. He got lucky the first time with a fake ref. So, and fake, judges. It was terrible. Early stoppage, fake nut shot, eye pokes. He cheated multiple times in the fight. So, okay, he got one maybe fake mythical fight, the first one. But everybody knew in Madison Square Garden, the second fight that we fought, I beat him. It was 3-2. I went going away the last 3 rounds. I walked out of that building clean as fuck. Rounds 3, 4, and 5, beating his ass, dropping him in the fourth. Just beating him. I'm better than him. So, and now you're starting to see it. He's slowing down and I'm only getting better, and I'm going up and he's coming down. So, of course, I would love to get the Usman trilogy. I think that's a fight I would love to have for my legacy. I think that's a fight, I deserve and I've earned. So he even knew after Madison Square Garden, he was already like, yeah, we got to do a trilogy, like he knew it. He knew deep down inside, like after we were done with that fight, we looked eye to eye and I gave him the promo code Colby over at my bookie. And he said, he's just like, yeah, man, dude, you brought it. And, you have my number. So, if that trilogy lines up down the line, then let's do it. I'd be excited. And I'd welcome that fight with open arms.
Do you think he should fight Shavkat Rakhmonov next? Shavkat's the guy who just beat Jeff Neal at UFC 285.
I'm not sure what he should do. I know he's calling out Khamzat, Chimaev, that dog.
I was going to ask you about that, actually. Do you think that call out was kind of just getting his name in the news? Because I think everyone knows that Chimaev's going up to 185. Do you feel like that was just a way to get his name in the headlines? Because I don't think Chimaev's coming back down.
100%. All that was to draw some headlines. He knows, Chimaev's already going to 185. This is already set in stone. So he's not going to go fight it. Unless he's going to fight at 185, then why are you calling that guy out? It looks like he's just looking for headlines and attention because he can't get attention any other way because he has no charisma. Literally, there's a wet mop in my corner of my house right now that has more charisma than Marty Fake Newsman.
Okay, a couple more rapid fire questions. I saw you and Jon Anik seem like you buried the hatchet. Is that accurate? Because he sort of said that on the broadcast.
He should just stay out of the way when the Colby train's coming through. Don't get involved in people's business. That's none of your business. You're supposed to be impartial as a UFC commentator, so do your job, man. If you want to be a cheerleader, then put down the headset and go get some pom-poms. So, yeah, we've addressed it, and it is what it is. But, people know, no, don't touch the stove with Colby. It's kind of hot.
Do you watch BKFC at all? We saw Mike Perry knock out Luke Rockhold a few weeks ago. Did you see that?
No, to be honest, I've never watched one of those fights. I'm not interested, in a sport like that, and especially nonetheless of guys that are just UFC washouts. These are just guys that are going to fight at the Indian Fairgrounds because they couldn't make it in the UFC. So we're talking about the biggest and best business and the biggest and best fights, and that's only in the UFC. It's the best organization in the world.
My last question, and again, thanks for the time. Always appreciate you taking time here. You haven't had a manager for a while, and I feel like you were one of the first big-name fighters to do that. You've been doing business on your own. We're seeing this more and more. A lot of high-profile fighters representing themselves, Sean O'Malley being one of them. Do you think you sort of started a trend here? And you talked earlier about the manager before taking 20%. Do you think we'll see more of this from big fighters like yourself?
I don't know that we'll see more of it because fighters in the first place aren't very smart. They're the lowest common denominator of people on this earth. So, I just don't think they're smart enough to think for themselves like that and think about a bigger picture. Like they have to have a middleman, a guy that's going and talking to the UFC because they can't sell themselves. They don't know how to approach the UFC, and they don't know how to really get across, how to do business. So I don't think we'll see more of it, but I would highly recommend it to as many fighters as possible. Like, start taking the time, like, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, have faith in yourself that you can get your point across to the UFC and you guys can do good business because this is the best company. They'll work with you. They're all about, you eat what you kill. So if you come over here and you earn your way up and you sell the business and you're able to do good business over here, then you're going to get rewarded and you're going to get to keep more money in your pocket and for more people that deserve it. I'm thankful I don't have to pay managers so I can give more to my coaches, to my training partners, to all types of different people in my family. This is where these percentages are going to. So, I would recommend, people cut out that middleman and that percentage because they're not doing you any good and they're not getting you any extra leverage with your negotiations.
Colby, this was awesome. Thanks a lot. Let's hope something gets booked soon. Everyone wants to see you back in the cage there. Anything you got to plug before we get out of here? Bang Energy, MyBookie. I know you got a bunch of others. The floor is yours, man.
Shout out to Bang Energy. They always got me hydrated with their new hydration drink, Booze. And it's not an energy drink; it's more on the hydration side. So, best drink in the industry right now, keeping me very fueled and hydrated at all times. And then shout out to mybookie.ag. They're always keeping me fueled and taking care of my training camp so I can be at my best. So bet with the best over at MyBookie. And then, shout out to Donald Trump, man. He's the greatest living American right now, and he's going to save our country and make this country great again. So thank you, Donald Trump, for everything you've done and the patriot you are.
Make sure to subscribe to the Low Kick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.